When Barack Obama walked out of the White House in January 2017, he didn't walk into an ordinary retirement. He walked into one of the most lucrative and closely watched second acts in modern American history. A life built on 8-figure book deals, a sprawling portfolio of real estate, a production empire, and a social circle that reads like a guest list for the Met Gala. This is the story of how a former president built a lifestyle that even most billionaires would envy. Let's start with the real estate, because it tells the story better than almost anything else. In 2017, the Obamas signed a 15-year lease, later reported to have been converted toward purchase, on a 9-bedroom, 8.5-bath mansion in the Kalorama neighborhood of Washington, D.C. The home sits on more than an acre in one of the most expensive zip codes in the country, walking distance from embassies and diplomats, and reportedly carried a price tag north of $8 million. It has a pool, a wine cellar, and enough security infrastructure to rival a small compound, which makes sense since former presidents retain Secret Service protection for life. But Kalorama was just the beginning. In 2019, the Obamas purchased a nearly 7-acre oceanfront estate on Martha's Vineyard for close to $12 million. The property, once owned by Boston Celtics owner White Grousbeck, includes a main house with roughly 6,000 square feet of living space, a separate guest cottage, a barn, and private frontage on the Edgartown coastline. This wasn't a spontaneous purchase. The Obamas had vacationed on Martha's Vineyard for years, renting summer homes for their family retreats, so buying their own piece of the island was less an indulgence and more a homecoming to a place that had already become part of their story. Add to that their preserved family home in Chicago's Kenwood neighborhood, and you have a former first family with an active footprint on 3 separate properties. Then there's the money that fueled all of this. Just months after leaving office, the Obamas signed a joint book deal reported to be worth in the region of $65 million, split between Barack's presidential memoir and Michelle's memoir, Becoming. Barack's book, A Promised Land, went on to become one of the best-selling presidential memoirs of all time, moving millions of copies within its first weeks alone. Speaking of Netflix, in 2018, the Obamas signed a multi-year production deal with the streaming giant through their company, Higher Ground Productions. Estimates on the value of that deal have ranged widely, with some reports placing it near $50 million. Higher Ground has since produced documentaries, docuseries, and films, earning Academy Award and Emmy recognition along the way. It's a business, yes, but it's also a platform, giving the former president continued cultural relevance and a seat at the table in Hollywood, an industry he has increasingly embedded himself in through friendships with actors, directors, and musicians. Then there's the speaking circuit. Since leaving office, Obama has commanded speaking fees reported to be as high as $400,000 per appearance, a figure that drew criticism when he accepted an invitation to speak at a Wall Street conference just months after his presidency ended. Whether or not one agrees with the optics, the number itself says everything about how valuable his voice remains on the private circuit, from corporate keynotes to closed-door gatherings with business leaders around the world. Vacations are where the Obama lifestyle becomes most visible to the public. Over the years, he's been photographed kite surfing and paddleboarding with Richard Branson on Necker Island, the British billionaire's private Caribbean retreat. He's vacationed in French Polynesia aboard a luxury yacht reportedly owned by media mogul David Geffen, alongside guests like Bruce Springsteen, Tom Hanks, and Oprah Winfrey. He's taken golf trips to exclusive courses, celebrated milestone birthdays with star-studded guest lists, and been spotted on ski trips in Idaho's Sun Valley, a favorite gathering spot for tech executives and media moguls alike. His 60th birthday party in 2021 became a headline story of its own. Originally planned as a large outdoor gathering at the Martha's Vineyard estate with hundreds of guests, including A-list celebrities and political figures, the event was significantly scaled back amid public health concerns at the time. Even in its reduced form, reports described a tented celebration with a live band, a raw bar, and a guest list that still included some of the biggest names in entertainment and politics. Beyond the parties and the property, there's the simple infrastructure of the lifestyle. A federal pension, funded office space, staff, and travel allowances that come with being a former president, layered on top of the private wealth generated from books, media deals, and speaking engagements. It's a hybrid existence, part elder statesman, part media mogul, part cultural tastemaker, and it has made Obama one of the wealthiest former presidents in American history, with estimates of the family's combined net worth ranging well into 9 figures. Golf remains one of his most consistent hobbies, with regular rounds played at some of the most exclusive private clubs in the country, often alongside business leaders, athletes, and fellow politicians. These aren't just games. They're extensions of the same networking that fuels the speaking circuit and the production deals, a reminder that in this world, leisure and business are rarely separate. He's also been spotted at high-end restaurants in Washington, Martha's Vineyard, and Chicago, often opting for low-key dinners with friends rather than flashy public appearances. Security is perhaps the most invisible, yet most expensive part of the entire operation. As a former president, Obama retains lifetime Secret Service protection, a detail that follows him on vacations, speaking engagements, and even routine outings. This protection extends to his properties as well, with the Kalorama and Martha's Vineyard homes both requiring significant security upgrades and coordination with local law enforcement. Travel remains one of the most visible symbols of the post-presidential lifestyle. Private jets have become the default mode of transportation for both business and leisure. Whether flying to a speaking engagement in Europe, a golf trip in the American South, or a family vacation in the Pacific, a stark contrast to the modest upbringing Obama has often spoken about. What makes the Obama post-presidency so fascinating isn't just the scale of the wealth, it's how deliberately it was built. Rather than fading from public life, the Obamas turned their platform into a content and media empire, their friendships into cultural capital, and their memoirs into publishing history. It's a case study in how modern political fame, when paired with strategic business decisions, can generate a lifestyle that rivals old money and Silicon Valley wealth alike. Love him or disagree with his politics, the business playbook the Obamas built after the White House is one that future presidents will likely try to replicate for decades to come. And it all started with 2 very deliberate real estate decisions, 1 book deal, and a willingness to build a brand far beyond the presidency itself.